Oh, there's risk, but the reward is a reborn city. The little city of Oneonta in upstate New York is saying no to the demographic shift. We aim to reverse the trend line, to bring 1,000 new neighbors into our city, to energize our historic downtown, to recapture the magic of the last century when Oneonta was a place to make memories and launch dreams. 1,000 new neighbors joining our community and adding to our quality of life. To bring them here, we'll take a blitz of promotion and connection, and we'll take the efforts of hundreds of us working together. But if we pull this off, we will all win. This is the Hill City Gambit. I'm the mayor, Mark Drnek, and we've got a story to tell.
Thank you for listening. If you would like to learn more and support Oneonta, visit exploreoneonta.com. That's exploreoneonta.com.
So it's been a couple of very interesting weeks here in the City of the Hills. As those who've been listening know, we've got our challenges as we make our way to the addition, hopefully, of hundreds more residents in the city. And housing is at the top of our list of issues. But recently, we've added another hurdle to clear. Weren't counting on it. The parking garage in the heart of our downtown, which was an object of planned replacement, was found to be structurally unsound. And we didn't expect that, and we've had to close it down, and we'll have to tear it down, and it'll be more than a couple of years before it's rebuilt. So as you can imagine, we have a lot of unhappy people and businesses, and it's going to be a challenge to replace all those parking spaces in the interim. But we're up for it, we're up to it. I believe that. Coincidentally, I just came back from a 3-day conference of New York mayors where I was struck by this presentation by the mayor of Fairport, New York, who had a very positive story to tell of her community turning a challenge into an opportunity. And I'm happy to say that Mayor Julie Domaratz of the village of Fairport, New York, has agreed to share her story with us. So welcome, Mayor.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, Julie, can you tell us a bit about the village of Fairport?
The village of Fairport is located in Monroe County, southeast of the city of Rochester. We are a village that originally came about in conjunction with the construction of the Erie Canal. And then after the Erie Canal really set in and started to take a role in the community, we also had the train lines that run through our community. So both of those pieces, the Erie Canal and train tracks, dissect our main street from north and south. And there's roughly about 5,500 residents in the village. We're 1.5 square miles, so we're not a very large mass of land. And we're really known as the Jewel of the Erie Canal.
It is a beautiful village. So, Mayor, the city of Oneonta recently suffered the unexpected closure of our 400 space parking garage. And there's been rapid deterioration of its steel and its concrete, making it structurally unsound, even dangerous. And so we had to close that. And we're about to enter what looks to be a very busy summer for tourism. So this couldn't come at a less opportune time. And of course, businesses are concerned. But I understand that Fairport faced a similarly daunting challenge with its lift bridge. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. In 2019, the New York State Department of Transportation had plans to, I should say, lift our lift bridge and leave it in the up position for initially a 15-month project. And since that bridge cuts between North Main Street and South Main Street, our main business district, there was a great amount of concern from the community of how we were going to survive with this slicing in half our business district, as well as residents know how to get around, but how were we going to let people who are not necessarily familiar with the community, how are we going to get them around from the north end of the main street to the south end and then back and forth? There was a great amount of concern of how this was going to impact businesses in our community, as well as residents and visitors alike.
I'm sure. So, how did the community eventually come together on this? And what did that look like?
Well, I have a great partner in our community, which is the director of the Office of Community and Economic Development. It's Director Martha Malone. And I have a background of problem solving from my previous life in corporate America. So we worked together to put together a team that represented a cross section of stakeholders from our community, whether it was somebody from the Fairport Public Library, which exists right here on Main Street and is one of the busiest locations in our community, a representative from the town of Perrington, a representative from the Fairport Perrington Chamber of Commerce, a representative from the Fairport Perrington Partnership for a Better Community, the Merchants Association, our Public Arts Committee, and law enforcement, as well as just residents who live in our community who would be impacted by this. We wanted to get a wide breadth of experiences to help us put together information to solve this problem. And the first step in the whole process is, what were our project goals? What were we trying to solve? Was it we were trying to solve getting across the canal? Or our goals, actually, when we sat down and distilled it to the situation, were to maintain the ability to get from one side of the other via the Main Street corridor, keep Main Street accessible through the project, decrease disruption to the village surrounding community and businesses, allow for clear and effective communication to residents, businesses, and visitors before and throughout the 15-month project, effectively market our community to maintain and increase visitors to the village, and put together a communication strategy that should not only include the village and the town, but the entire greater Rochester region, including Visit Rochester, Facebook, Fairport Alert System, our own internal alerts that go out to community members, and also utilize television and media in this process as well.
So I love that. I hate this connection though. We've got a Zoom going on and there's a little bit of lag, but still curious exactly what it is that you wound up doing. What kind of actions and programming did you guys come up with?
We worked together as a group to put together a series of solutions, and using the methods that I brought with me from corporate America. So the corporate America is good for something in government. We put together public-private partnerships. We also sat down and created a listing of tools that we thought would be useful to help, but we also collected some data. So we went around and had members of our committee talk to all the business owners that we could get a hold of and ask them to participate in a survey so we could understand what their normal business cycles were like, whether they were on a monthly basis, busy, early in the year, the second quarter of the year, third quarter, fourth quarter, because all these businesses have different cycles that they move through. Was there a particular time of the week that would be influencing it? And whether it was a restaurant or a brewery or a retail store, or the lawyers that are in the building across the driveway from us here at Village Hall, we wanted to understand a general feeling for businesses and how they might be impacted by this. We worked together to select a marketing company along with a public relations company, so they would help us to represent the village and to create some energy around it. One of the things when we noticed when we went out and talked to other communities that had gone through situations like this, they said, beware of how your residents will reach a level of exhaustion throughout the length of and life of this project. So do something to engage your residents, not just the businesses. And from there, we put together a time schedule. We already have parades that are normally held on Main Street. We have approximately three really large festivals that bring approximately 100,000 to 125,000 visitors to our community. And for each one of those, well, for two of those three festivals. And it was, how are we going to keep life as close to normal as we possibly could? And from all of this data collection and thinking about these goals, we created tools to inform the community and visitors and businesses about how you could traverse up and down Main Street without having to go over the Main Street Bridge. We created a program called Fairport on the Rise. So Fairport on the Rise has a logo. We made yard signs that residents could put at their homes. We tried to really engage people from the community to get them excited about what we were going to do. We applied decals to this Fairport on the Rise pathway that went the back route to get from North Main Street to South Main Street that wasn't widely known with a one-lane bridge. We painted the sidewalks with gears, like the gears that were going to be replaced on the lift bridge. We had wayfinding billboards in a few different locations on the north side of the village and on the south side, so that somebody walking around through your village could figure out where they were in your village, and also what kinds of events were you going to have. From our history, the village has a building, a structure in it that's now known as the cannery. It used to be the home to the American Can Factory. And the history of beer cans in America starts with the American Can Company. The first beer cans were produced by that company. And while it wasn't in the village of Fairport, we decided we needed to create a new milestone festival in January when things are normally pretty quiet. We have a few craft breweries and a distillery here right in the village, as well as some pubs. So we created National Beer Can Day and advertised it and got these businesses to be a part of it. We got fire pits so that we set up fire pits along this walking path where people might want to stop and pause in front of a business and meet up with their neighbors. And everything was going really, really well. But we all kind of know what happened in March of 2020, which was when a hurdle was thrown in the pathway called COVID-19. So we had to figure out and change with a certain amount of agility that everybody had to face, where our businesses all shut down, just like the rest of the country and the rest of the state.
Yeah, just like the rest of the country. Certainly Oneonta. That's really impressive, really. Presume a key to your success was engaging the community. So how'd that go?
I think that our community was very engaged. They not only got the information that the bridge was going to be shut down. So again, the doom and gloom story of there's not going to be a bridge here for 15 months, which, oh, by the way, that turned into 22 months because of delays with supplies due to COVID. So I think that the community was very engaged, and we tried to reach out not only to businesses, but to residents. Like I said, with the Fairport on the Rise map, we had multiple media hits that our PR firm helped us engage by drawing in the media for the day that the bridge went into the up position. So we had a whole ceremony and speakers, and it involved many different media contacts either coming and filming this. We had political figures from around the area who came to say, here we go, Fairport on the Rise. And the bridge really does represent the heart of our community. People, even whether they live in the village or live in the town of Perrington, they really see that bridge as the representation of our community. And they were very, very concerned about what was going to happen to this bridge that had been there since 1914 and is very unique and very, very photographed when you look at the photographs about the village of Fairport. So I think that they were very engaged. Again, we had media coming throughout COVID, saying, gee, the bridge is still under construction. I would do interviews with local reporters. They would say, but the bridge is still under construction. Isn't that hurting your main street? And I would say, no, we had that completely under control. This is a COVID problem, not a bridge problem. And the other piece of this is our village offices, our village government. We had other plans in the background for infrastructure projects, and we didn't shut down. We paused away from meeting together. But as soon as we could get everything rolling again after a few months, we continued to work on all the different infrastructure projects that enhance our main street and our business corridors, so that as we move out of this period of having to be completely shut down, there were places for people to go and to experience in our community, especially along the canal where everybody wanted to go walk when you weren't supposed to be inside with other people. So we saw a huge rise in people coming to the village to use all of these walking paths that we really highlighted, because during COVID, you weren't supposed to be inside. You were supposed to be outside to get together with your neighbors.
And what a nice place to be outside with your neighbors, walk along the canal. I bet you the bridge, though, was a topic of conversation throughout. So now that that bridge has been reopened, can you tell us how Fairport's downtown is doing? How's it doing right now?
I absolutely can. And the last thing that I'll tie into how engaged was the community when on July 2nd, 2020, it seems like it was forever, 2021, when the bridge finally came back down into the regular position for the start of the summer season, we had hundreds of people on our main street. While we may have a population of about 5,500 between the town and the village, there were at least 500 people filling our main street, filling the top of the bridge for the ceremony for it to be in the down position. So they were very engaged. What we've really seen is, with all the excitement we've generated about our community, whether it's you're excited because the bridge is in the up position, or you're excited because we've created many places for people to come in our village. We have a special lighting package on our bridge. We've seen a huge growth in businesses on our main street. The map that I have of the Fairport on the Rise with the bridge shut down, with an overlay of the number of businesses that have opened in our business corridor since the end of 2020. When I saw you a few weeks ago, I said we were at 15. We are actually at 17. And I would say in the next month or so, we have at least 4 new businesses that are going to open. Across the street from me is what's known as the Village Landing. It's a small mini plaza that was created during the 70s. And in speaking at one of these ribbon cuttings with the owners of the plaza, they're delighted that they only have a very small amount of business space left, that this is the most full that this plaza has been in at least a decade. So I think that it's working. People want to be here. You cannot find a house for sale in our village. Not that that's not a problem everywhere else in our state, but I particularly think that all of these things that could have been lemons and we made lemonade out of it have contributed to our business community coming back strong. We have a variety of unique businesses, retail establishments. We also have a full scope of custom breweries. We have a custom distillery. We have different types of restaurants that are in our community, including a couple of Irish pubs. But all of those things are, I believe, a factor that comes out of making people or getting people to understand your community is still open and it's a great place to come and visit. It's a great place to live, and it's a great place to play.
Right. That's a great place to play. That is such a great message. So, if I could, what lessons do you think that Oneonta and other communities can take from your experience? And what can I share with my constituents?
Engage with a variety of stakeholders in your community. So I know that you're experiencing a parking garage that's not functional. Find out how and who is using it. And and that requires you to engage in all the different possible stakeholders who might be concerned, whether it's visitors or whether it's the businesses or it's residents. See if you can reach out to the major the Chamber of Commerce or the Merchants Association. We happen to have a very strong Merchants Association. And see if you can bring people together to say, okay, we have what we have happening. What is the problem that we want to solve? Is it a parking problem? Is it something else? And let's find some solutions, whether they're short-term or long-term solutions, that we can help everybody find a way to get around, a way to park in our community. Maybe it's something as broad as we highlight some other areas that people might not be aware of that's within walking distance of our community that they could park, and give them something to get excited about walking from point A to point B. I think it's looking at and distilling what is the real problem, who is being impacted by that problem, and then how can you make alternative connections that will help those people who are dealing with that problem find a solution that helps them move forward.
Yeah, I get that moving forward. That is what we all want to do, and certainly Fairport has. You've set a heck of an example. And I think your experience should serve as a model and give folks hope. It gives me hope. It really does. So, Mayor, thank you so much for your time and congratulations on your success. Really appreciate you. And I suspect there's a lot of folks who might want to know more. So, to those folks, I'm just going to urge you to check out the village's website at village.fairport.ny.us. And, Mayor, I cannot thank you enough. Your village is an inspiration.
Thank you. I would love to touch base. I would love to hear more about how things go for you. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
It's Mayor Julie Domaratz. It takes a village. It truly does. Well, that's a wrap for this edition of the Hill City Gambit. Thank you for joining us and for your support of our City of the Hills, Oneonta. I have confidence we will succeed, that we will bring 1,000 new residents to our city. One of them may be you. And then when you get here, we will have housing and we will have parking when you get here. Okay? That's the gamble. We're bringing you here. We got to make it happen for you. That's the gambit.
Thank you for listening. If you would like to learn more and support Oneonta and our efforts in bringing 1,000 new residents to our little city, visit exploreoneonta.com. That's exploreoneonta.com.
Hello, I'm Carrie Harrington. Thanks for your time and for learning all about our city. Special thanks to the citizens of Oneonta and all who have made the Hill City Gambit possible. We hope to see you for our next episode. Take care, everybody.